Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be watching us from. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the TGR Nation Grand V Series. I'm Alex Marshall, joined by Tristan Herbst, and our producer in the background bringing you all the camera shots is Samuli Kumo. We go to what is basically a full figure 8. Championship points are tied up top. And Tristan, this is a very, very different circuit to Cadwell Park last week.
Absolutely. I mean, we've got a very similar complex layout here, but a very short lap time of around about under 50 seconds that the Vs are going to be doing today. Located in Australia over here, and the slipstream is really going to be minimal for these drivers. They're going to have to focus on consistent lap times here to try and keep within each other and try and keep the fighting consistent.
Yeah, it's 18-degree temperature, 40 and partly cloudy. It's going to be an interesting one. The key factor about this circuit, of course, is the figure 8. You've got the little bridge, which you can see in the background. It is Oran Park Raceway, a land down under, and it is the North A layout. It's going to be a real interesting one, especially with the championship, the way that it's looking, Tristan.
Absolutely. We've got some fierce competitors up and down the grid. Obviously, we've seen the two championship rivals going at it in the past rounds, the likes of Zach Rattray White and Gianni Lutsu, but there's loads of action up and down this field. We've got Matthias Marin and Mark Schweening and a couple of other insane drivers in our mid-pack who have posed some serious threat and incredible performance over the past couple of rounds at Cadwell and the likes of Snetterton and VR South. So definitely looking forward to tonight. There's a lot of action on the line, and like you mentioned, figure 8 style circuit. As you can see on your track map in front of you, a little bit of a kink towards the second part of the circuit. It's going to add a bit of action, but it's still one to note. It's going to be technical. The driver's going to have to keep their head down, and it's definitely going to be one we have to keep our eyes peeled to what's going out on track, Alexa.
Yeah, I mean, it is that thing about what is happening out on track. Of course, I wasn't here last week, but you definitely were. Matthias Marin and Schweening, how are they going to come into this week? Of course, knowing what happened in the last round, because surely you're going to be looking for redemption after what would have not been so savoury in the taste last week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Matthias and Schweening having a little bit of a connection last week in lap 1 into one of the right-handers, a little bit of jumping over. And unfortunately, just a little bit of a contact there. They're definitely going to want to try and redeem that this week, possibly try and avoid any form of conflict at all. And it's definitely going to be one to note. The same goes for Moroni, who had a bit of a complicated race last week. Unfortunately, around 2 to 3 black flag penalties being administered to his race number, and him having to continuously try and recover himself. So let's see, currently up on pole, let's see what he can do this week, Alexa.
Yeah, as he goes around this circuit, it is one of those interesting factors which we're also going to talk about. How is the aerodynamics of the car going to come into effect? Because realistically, if this was a longer circuit, there would be a chance for you to get into the slipstream. But around here, you're turning so quickly and so shortly, there's not really going to be any chance for you to hop into that slipstream and possibly end up for a move down the inside.
Absolutely not. It's all going to be down to how these drivers can control these cars. And what we've seen over the past couple of rounds is that these cars can get a little bit technical. They can throw you out and they can surprise you a little bit with how they drive. So if you're not consistent enough, the V will show you its flames from underneath. And here on the down south in Australia, it could get even more hectic here at Oran Park. So drivers are going to have to keep consistent. There's no slipstream, like you say, to try and fight their way up with the no aero package. So it's all going to come down to pure driver performance. But I believe we have Mr. Gianni Lutsu in the commentary box, who's going to be joining us now. And I believe he's going to be chatting to us about his coaching. Welcome to the comms box, Mr. Gianni Lutsu.
Hey guys, how you going?
It is not too bad. Gianni Lutsu, welcome in. I believe you are here, not only are you here for an interview with that lovely purple car on the bottom. Talk us through it. Of course, you can see on the top right of the screen at Lutsu Driver Performance. You're helping the league out to make it happen, of course, we know, with all the iRacing fees. But what is Lutsu Driver Performance about?
For sure, no, I'm very grateful for all the guys with Sully and all the crew for obviously letting me hop on and sponsor the series. But obviously it's basically a global iRacing coaching business that I've been running for about the last 3 years or so, and just basically giving back to the community a little bit and helping a lot of drivers get faster, in certain areas that they kind of need to improve on, if it's got to do with, racing technique or sort of driving structure, or even things like racecraft, just helping, every driver to, their certain area that they need assistance with, and just trying to, improve them in that way that they're kind of needing so in their car that they're depending on sort of driving for the longer period of time. But I think honestly, sometimes the whole driving side of things, obviously we get onto the iRacing and get onto the simulator to just drive and to race and have a good time. But I think sometimes we try and actually look past the sort of main driving structure side of things, and how much it actually does make a difference to your driving. If you can get on top of that, sooner rather than later, obviously it can improve you in the moment, but it can also improve you going further far into the future as well. So, I've been obviously recommending it for a lot of drivers, and obviously through the series now they've been a really good job of promoting it, especially guys like Sambo iRacing with his YouTube channel as well, been really good at promoting it. So, if anyone needs any assistance in terms of getting faster or racecraft or just any tips in general, please feel free to hop onto my website, lutzudriveperformance.com, or check out Sambo iRacing's YouTube channel as well, and there's a few links in there and a few bits of driving that I do as well.
Well, thank you very much. I'm sure that the league also appreciates you being able to sponsor it. We see in this league as well, there is so many iRatings, some high, some low. Is that a key aspect when it comes down to it?
Look, I think at the end of the day, iRating is very much just a number that is based on, who can be more consistent racing. And I think, it all comes back to what I just mentioned before. It all comes back to that complete package of things. If it's obviously to do with racecraft, it's to do with driving structure, it all comes back down to the same thing. So I think, for me, obviously, I've got one that's over 10,000, and I think, that just comes down to, I think, just a majority of, like I said, having that structure and also having that racecraft, but I think just having that ability to be able to drive a various range of different cars as well helps out massively. But yeah, look, it definitely does help out having a higher number. I guess it does show that skill level a little bit more, but by no means, you can have guys that are at 3,000 iRating and be just as competitive as myself. It's very much just about having that understanding of the core techniques and structures that you kind of need to, be a complete race car driver.
Well, thank you very much. That is some very good insight. We have got just under 2 minutes left here in free practice, so I am sure that qualifying will be getting underway very, very shortly. We shall let you go. Thank you for joining us and filling us in with all the details.
Thank you, guys. Cheers. Have a good broadcast. Cheers.
Have a good one. And that was Gianni Lutsu, Tristan.
Yeah, I mean, someone who is definitely one to look out for on the track. He is a high up there competitor, and as you can see, he's not just here to gain the self pity of things and just get himself better. Offering it all to everybody around in the league with Lutsu driver performance, absolutely incredible. And a huge shout out as well to Sambo iRacing and just everybody coming together to try and get everybody faster and up to speed with setups and the help. And I believe any help you can get is always going to be worth it. So great stuff to see the sportsmanship being shown from there. And that's what we love to see in the motorsport industry. But like you say, we've got 1 minute left, around actually 40 seconds left here of practice. And then we head into our very, very omniscient qualifying, which you're going to have to see who can set that fastest time in this session here at Oran Park.
Yeah, well, this is the thing when we look at it. There's a lot more drivers on the grid than there was last week. Going off what we saw last week, it was about 14 drivers on the grid. We've got an extra 11 here tonight, and it's a lot shorter circuit as well. So, of course, the qualifying, you're out there on your own, but when it comes down to the racing as well, how is that going to be a key factor?
Definitely, the racing is going to be tight. We have to understand that this is sub 50-second lap times. I mean, currently, we've got Sean Gapinski on pole in practice here with a 47.7. I mean, that's incredibly quick to try and set on a super short lap like this. So sub 50, it's going to play extremely interesting to how things go here. But I mean, it looks like we're heading into qualifying now. So it's all going to come down to what the drivers can do in this time.
And it is going to be green, green, green in the pit road. And this is the thing as well, very short pit lane, so not long to get out there. You look at the perfect greenery, you look at the perfect sky, the land down under, and the engines roar out there on the circuit as we are on board with Martin Visser. He is going around the circuit at the moment, over the bridge. And some may say that this is just a very, very big karting circuit.
I mean, this could be distinguished as a karting circuit. Such a short amount of time to get a lap done, and not a lot of corners as well to make that time up. So this is exactly why we specify that these drivers need to be absolutely locked in, especially in this qualifying lap. Martin Visser just not finding the traction there on his out lap, but the drivers really need to be etched in to try and get those qualifying times in. There's not a lot of places to find time if you're going to leave too much room for error. And then the equation just doesn't balance. Too much error on a short track like this is not going to leave enough space to get in those good lap times.
And it may be the slowest. We were looking at the kilometers an hour there, the kph as you head into speed. You may look at it and it's like, oh, it's a very short lap time. However, this may be one of the circuits where you're not going to be spending that much time at high speed. And that's going to be a key factor in the corners, especially here in qualifying. One mistake and your car will spin. So you got to think about how you're putting your foot down, how you're keeping the acceleration, and how you're going to hold that line. Because one touch of the gravel and you may be losing a tenth to the car ahead.
Absolutely. So, I mean, we've got gravel that could potentially pose as a threat here. But, I mean, like you say, relatively low speed for these cars around here. And what we've really started to notice with the V, especially since the start of the season, is that the downshifts can get extremely volatile. Weighing only about 396 kilograms, the engine is primarily the amount of weight. So downshifts cause a lot of weight transfer among the car. And one unlucky downshift, and I mean, Alexa, that could be the race over even for you if you get an unlucky spin. Or it could just be an unfortunate spin that results in a poor lap. But that can happen at a track like this.
Well, the man who is not making any mistakes at the moment is the man up top. That is Sean Gapinski and Chris Lim with Christopher Cassiano just behind him. Cassiano being the first driver to set a valid lap time. He's in P3 at the moment with Gapinski P number 1 as Tostes goes P number 2. So it codes onto the line, but it looks to see how much improvement you can get around here, because you may think that there is not that much time to find at a circuit so small, so tight. However, you may be able to push just a slight bit more wider, and you can get more lap time in as Wright goes up into P number 6. But we are currently watching Ken Poulin.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I think Oran Park North can actually be considered like a double-sided blade. I mean, at one point, yes, it's very difficult to find time here because of it being so small and not much room to find anything. But like Alexa says, one good little, a good amount of rotation out of a corner that might just be better than the last lap could render you an extra 2 or 3 tenths just from taking a corner slightly different. So it's very, very, I would say, complex in terms of how you manage your lap time around here, because you have to be 100% to the T of where you're trying to find your time. This isn't a Nordschleife where we can find time easily within an 8-minute span. This is now a Rand Park North with a sub 50-second lap time. So we're going to have to see pure driving here from everybody out on this 25-car grid.
And you look at the track map as well, you can see the complete difference in the circuit. It may be small, so it's not really that much, but it's still one to look at. You look at the first half of the lap, when you go over the bridge and then under, it's pretty straight. You've got those few turns to keep you going, but it can be, but it's not as technical as what the second half will be. You can see the little infield, which goes inside of the figure 8 on the north section, and that is going to be so much more technical. You are going to be turning that wheel as soon as you hit on the acceleration, so you got to hope that you do not make a singular mistake. Rodrigo Tostes, P number 4 at the current moment, with his lap time of a 48.282. He is not far behind at all, as he is only seemingly 5 tenths off the best time.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just going to improve over the next 5 minutes left that we have of qualifying. But something I've actually noticed in our standings is that we're missing the other championship rival currently, as Zach White is actually not on track or in the pit lane currently. So it looks like Lutzu is going to have to just try and fight this out himself. But it looks like we might have someone else posing as a threat here today, because Gapinski has shown his pace in not only practice but qualifying as well, with a 47.7, currently 4 tenths ahead of anybody else on track. And currently we hold on board with Neil Handley, struggling a little bit towards the backside of the grid with 2.5 seconds, now 2.3 seconds gap to the leader. He's still got a good amount of time, around 5 minutes, to try and get those laps out. But remember, these drivers don't have infinite amount of laps to get these times in. They've only got 3 laps, and then that's it.
3 laps is all you get. So at a circuit so small like this one, you've got to wonder, how many laps are these drivers thinking? Are they thinking one at the end and then one at the end and the rest at the start, or the other way round? So you could go consistently and try and keep up with it, but realistically, at the end of the day, it may be better to split them.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I think the track, I don't think there's going to be much track evolution at a track like this, especially because of the V's not really causing too much terrain and rubble and rubber density changes here at Oran Park. But still, the track might be able to evolve a little bit, especially with the temperatures rising here at Australia. It could potentially be better to get a couple of lap times in towards the end compared to the start, or it could even be vice versa. But other than physical track evolution, it could also just come down to nerve. You know, if you're not feeling comfortable with the car and you've only got 3 laps, rather don't try and waste all 3 at the beginning where you're feeling uncomfortable with the car. Rather pull it in. This is an open setup series as well, so maybe go back, adjust that setup a little bit, and get back out there to try and complete the remainder of your laps, because currently 47.7 is a tough time to beat.
That is the question. It's a 20-degree track, 18-degree ambient here in qualifying, about 3 minutes left on the clock to go. Lutzu is currently the driver who is getting towards the end. He will stay in P number 4 at the current moment in time. But with those track temperatures, you've also got to wonder how the tyre's going to fare, because you're turning so much around this track. How are you going to warm up those tyres, especially when you get into the rear view of another car? The track, it's not just the track what you got to think about, it's also your tyres, because slow speed, I would guess that these drivers are running pretty high PSIs.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's not much place, as you mentioned, to actually keep those tyres warm. There's also not any long straights for you to potentially try and cool it down if you've made a mistake, because it's just going to be constant turning and bending in the V's. And currently, it actually looks like everybody might just be done with their qualifying laps. I don't think we've got anybody out currently on track. As we can see, everybody just currently residing in the pit lane, just waiting for everything else to get going. But we do still have 2 minutes left of this qualifying session.
Yeah, 2 minutes left to think about what you will be able to do. Some drivers may just be looking at their setups in these final 2 minutes, like you said, looking for any minor adjustments that they could possibly make. Some of them may be taking a breather, maybe getting some water, don't forget to hydrate. But are they going to be thinking strategy? Because, of course, we know it's a 30-minute race all the way to the end. One mistake around here, and you are going to be in quite a tough patch.
Yeah, definitely. We were talking about it actually just before the broadcast started, is that like if something major had to happen to one of these drivers in today's race, for example, having to be towed back or even just trying to nurse your car back home at a circuit like this with sub 50-second lap times, I mean, Alexa, that could be it for a driver who's trying to recover that car. That could literally be the race over if you generate too much time in between you and the car ahead. I mean, you could literally fall off of the pack here and get lapped after lap at a circuit this short.
Even then, you got to wonder how much is there going to be the train? How big is the train going to be? How many corners will it take up? So that's another question, is how much circuit is going to be filled with drivers on the lead lap? How many drivers are possibly going to be lapped beforehand? Rattray White leads the championship, followed by Joel Bagada. Bagada is going to be the key factor tonight, I would think, considering he is tied up there on the championship points, and he does not want to. He wants to take that lead tonight, so he's got to hope for a good race.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Sean Gopinski as well, just sitting out of the top 10. Going into round 4 of the year. He currently starts pole as it currently sits with 10 seconds left of qualifying, and everybody's finished their lap. So this should be a solid qualifying first position start for him over here at Oran Park. So hopefully we'll get a good result tonight and boost himself up into the top 10 after tonight's round 4.
Yeah, a 47.7. That is quite far ahead of the others. How did he get that? Where on track did he choose to make the advantage known? That is going to be the questions that we are going to find out when we get into the race in action. It's Sean Gopinski who lines up on pole position with Cassiano P2, a full American front row. It's then Joel Bagada in P number 2 with Gianni Lutsu in P number 4. It's then Tostes, Can, Marin, Lim, Carr and Schweening rounds out the top 10, Tristan.
Going on from the top 10, Todd Going just rounding off just on 11th, followed by Rob Wright in 12th position. Just behind them is the rest of the grid with Nathan Maroney, Visser, Cox and Poland in 16th, followed by Michael Thiessen, Daniel Taylor, new driver there in 18th position, Aaron Dembowski in 19th, followed by Neil Hanley. Struggled a little bit out there in qualifying, but still lots of time to make up in the rest of this race. Blake Babson in 21st, followed by Andrew James, Kirk Stanley, Alex Bradley, and rocking off at the backside of the grid is Don Parsons, the number 711 American driver, just at the back, but it is not over. We've got a short track here, and there is loads of opportunity for tonight's race.
You can see so many cars in the back of the grid which sit in the corners. It's going to be a key factor there. Some start in the corners, but some start on the main grid. We are about to get answers. Gopinski sits on pole position, and it is going to be this race. All eyes now go to the gantry lights. Green flag drops. We are racing. Matthias Marin gets an amazing start. So does Bradley further back. Henley as well. Already into the right-hander for turn number 1. And Gopinski has got away scot-free. Lutsu, Tostes, and Cassian have had a major contact. Already on lap 1, Tristan. That is coming out of turn number 1.
Yep, and we absolutely predicted that this could potentially happen. A couple of black flag penalties and a couple of meatballs already being shown out on track. We're definitely going to need to see a replay of what happened at the start there, because there is way too much chaos out on track. There's drivers all over the grass. There's a couple of drivers I saw in the background there that are still just trying to recover after that lap 1 incendiary fire. And everybody's just trying to find their pace over here. 4 meatball flags, Alexa, in lap 1. Chris Lim is backwards. This is absolute chaos on lap 1.
It's what to be expected when you come to a circuit such as this. 5 in the pits, 4 with meatballs. Parsons is out. Cox loses out positions as well. But Gapinski has got away absolutely scot-free on this opening lap. He leads, followed by Lutzu, then Matthias Marin. But you look behind, Lutzu is going to be chasing down. He's all over that rear bumper. And then because of all that chaos on lap number 1, you've got Marin, but they're 6 seconds behind at the moment.
Yeah, there's a huge gap already because Lutzu and Gapinski somehow got an amazing start, but let's just flash back and have a look at this. On the cam, just busy focusing now on Joel Bergada in 3rd position. You can see Lutzu on the outside. Everybody taking turn 1, a little bit of contact there, and looks like Lutzu got by safely. Joel Bergada was in the sandwich over there, and a couple of drivers just getting tagged around the outside. I believe that might be Neil Hanley, just hanging off on the left side there on the grass. And this is an unfortunate one. It almost looks like Joel Bergada got hooked onto the other car over there. That is super unfortunate, but major action on lap 1.
I can see more of it happening here. You got Mark Schweening, who has to take evasive action there, but coming in, car goes airborne, goes helicopter, and it is both of the cars into the barrier. Mark Schweening there, as well as the other driver who resets to the pit lane. That is lap number 1 at a circuit like this. It's chaos. But it's also not chaos when you depend on circuit, because right now Lutzu is going to look to take advantage. He looks for the inside line into that corner through turn number 1. Now goes to the up and under. He's going to fly around the outside. It's going to be Gianni Lutzu who takes the lead of the race. Gapinski is down into P number 2.
Yeah, it looked like Gapinski actually made a little bit of a mistake there over the chicane, just losing the rear a little bit and bouncing around. And that just gave Lutzu an absolutely open door. But a couple of drivers just not getting the confidence a little bit further back. But let's have a look once again to see if Gapinski let him go, or if it was potentially a bit of a mistake around the outside. Looks like he took it a bit wide, and a little bit of suspension unsettlement there for Gapinski, and easily opens the door there for Lutzu. But my goodness, Alexa, what a day for lap 1 of here. And again, Nathan Maroney, like we spoke about, who had a bit of an unfortunate one. And Michael Thiessen's off. But Maroney, who had an unfortunate one last week, he just can't catch a break, can he?
Well, it's 3 wide ahead. You can never catch a break when it's in the Formula V. You go racing so much, and you got to look for any space. It's so many overtakes, so many undertakes, up and unders all over the place. Nathan Maroney, 8 positions down since the start of this race, now heading into these final few corners. It's going to be contact with the driver in front, and that looked to be, was it Mark Schweening? I don't think it was.
No, I don't think
a little bit more unlucky. I think it was Mark Schweening. I'm trying to catch this all together. No, it's Eric Cox. So we're already seeing here, Tristan, the lap traffic is coming into this effect.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were speaking about it. If you have a look on the display on the left, there's already 5 cars with the +1L symbol, indicating already 1 lap down on such a short circuit. You don't have much functionality to try and get back up. But I mean, this is just going to be constant up and down. Eric Cox is already involved with back markers. They're fighting. A little bit action up in front, though. Cassiano just climbs over the curb and looks like he makes headway just in front. Maroney climbs over as well and makes a good overtake there. Not too sure what the red car is behind there. It could potentially be a back marker or a car actually fighting for position. Bradley also gets a position up on Hanley, and there is just loads of action everywhere here, Alexa.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this, you look at the relative. They're so close to each other. James Cassiano, Limon Cox with a lapped car right in between them. Maroney trying to fight his way back through in the home state, but now it's going to be Thiessen who's looking to get past ahead. P number 17. Something happened in front. You saw the tyre did make contact, and that is contact all over the place. Yellow, meatball for Maroney.
Maroney just cannot catch a break. I think we will probably see a replay of it just now, but he looked like he just went straight ahead on into the barrier there. So now on board with Maroney, just cannot catch a break. He had an unfortunate one last week, and now coming to Oran Park, not finding the traction. Tries to avoid an early breaker, and into the wall. That suspension is gone. That is a 100% destroyed front end of that V, and back to the pit lane he goes for a tow. That is super unfortunate for Maroney.
You saw the nose fly off it, and that happens in the formulas. Now going down the inside is going to be Thompson, and going airborne. You hit the rear suspension, and it flicks it into the air. That's very rare to see with a Formula V's, as they usually just spin on an axis. But it was Lim who also got caught up in that. Han has now lost out to going and pooling, so it's all over the place. Cassiano Meatball has to RTG, and that is going to be that. It's now all over the place. Made contact, James, and that is all over the place. That made contact with Cox, who's now gone round. There is so much action here, so much chaos. It's hard to tell who's who and how to keep up with it.
Yeah, I can't even distinguish between back markers and actual people driving without blue flags here. I don't know who's actually fighting. We've got the battle for X place that occasionally pops up in the bottom right. That helps us a little bit. But there is so much going on. We can see there's the battle for 12th right now with the likes of Kirk Stanley just trying to keep Michael Thiessen behind him. But my goodness, Alexa, we've seen, I think, over 10 meatball flags, and it's only lap 9 of this race, 7 minutes in, and there's another driver backwards. That's Solomon Khan, losing grip on that V. Into the gravel trap he goes, and losing multitudes of positions, just trying to rejoin safely.
Well, he dropped down a little bit earlier, but now he's dropped down again. It's not a good day in the office for Khan, and it's now going wrong again. It's all over, and he's now going to have to fight his way back through the field, as so is Schweening, as you can see on the relative in the bottom right. But I think when you're a lap down here, it's just really hard to get back up. You're going to be fighting not only for position, but also that part of the circuit, because we know what it can be like trying to get past back markers. But personally, I also know what it's like to be a back marker trying to fight the car in front of you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it can seriously get complicated for these drivers. And I mean, we've seen so many issues already coming into play here. And there are so many drivers already witnessing the blue flag popping up on the top left or top right of their sims over there. I mean, more than 50% of this grid is currently a lap down. That is absolutely crazy. From 12th down to 25th is already a lap down. Only the top 11 remain within a lap's gap of each other. And this is how it's going to go for the rest of the race. We've still got a good amount of time left with us here. 22 minutes left of racing, and it's already on lap 11. So the action is not going to stop here. Joel Bogata, who's currently tied for first in the championship, is further down in 20th, already 2 laps down.
Lutzu has driven absolutely away with it. He's got a 4.4 second gap up at the top. But the question for him is, where is the lap traffic going to come in? And is he already fighting it? How much time is he going to lose? Is he going to gain? As there is Gianni Lutzu, and he's in his own land. He has got clean airs galore. You can see on the map where all the chaos and all the action is happening, though.
Yeah, I mean, you can see just ahead of him on the track map there is the car number 23 just a little bit further up ahead, who he's going to potentially catch soon. Or that might be 23rd position. Apologies about that. But everybody is just trying to make headway here. Matthias Marin, 3rd position, is 10 seconds down from Gianni Lutzu and 5.4 seconds down from 2nd place. And as you can see, look what's in front of him, Alexa. He can't even begin to comprehend to try and make that gap up to the position in front of him, because there's so much lap traffic that he's just trying to survive and get around.
You try to go around people too wide, it's already hard enough, but we're seeing 3 wide around this circuit when it comes down into the first sector. So he's trying to battle his way through as much as he can as we ride on board with him. But you can already see how tricky it is. And I'm going to make a comparison here, Tristan. These corners, we saw it happen with Kapinski earlier on. Some of these corners are like Zandvoort Turn 7, where if you get up on that curb, your car is just going to beach itself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we're not working with big GT3s over here. Oh, and I'm not too sure if that was contact or a little bit of netcode, but we had a GT3 going a little bit airborne there. Oh, late break there from number 128 as well. But like you were saying, these are not big GT3s that can eat curbs for dinner. These are tiny Vs with their suspension low to the floor. And you've seen some of these curbs, like you mentioned, are a little bit big. So one little portion of bad contact with the curb, and like we saw with Kapinski, the whole left side of your car could literally be airborne.
Yep, and into the grass goes Blake Babson, and there is Eric Cox. Black flag black flag galore. What we're also seeing, we're getting all kinds, and he gets sent round again by Babson as Babson's car goes into the air. These, you never usually see Formula V's in the air, Tristan, but we are tonight. It's something interesting to watch.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't even feel like we're racing on Earth yet. This looks like we're racing on, like, the moon or something with increased gravity, because I'm seeing front ends and back ends bouncing around like they've got some form of springs that are, like, actively going on and off in the suspension. But, I mean, that's just how the contact is going around here at Oran Park. And everybody, I feel like, is actually just trying to survive here. There's a couple of drivers who have really made headway, like Lutzu and Kopinski, who are starting to pull away neatly. But so many drivers are just trying to get that car done lap by lap without receiving a black flag or some form of meatball, because it's absolutely chaotic here at Oran Park. Everybody is fighting to the absolute limits here to try and make up any form of position that they can.
Well, it's bumpy and tight, and you gotta wonder how are they continuing to go, as there is another car off on the outside as you look at Zen Car trying to fight his way forward, but he's got right behind him by less than a second, and then all around him is blue flags for others. It comes down to this, Rob Wright versus Car. This is going to be a fight that we're going to be watching, Tristan, because realistically this is the main one for position out on circuit at the moment.
Loads of action up and down, but currently it doesn't really apply according to blue flag rules. So currently Rob Wright and Zenkar's fight is 100% going to be the fight we're going to be watching. Zenkar looks like he's got a back marker in front that he's trying to fight off. Ken Poland is a good 10 seconds ahead of him, so he's got nothing to fight for in front, but Wright has got the eyes in front. The Lightning Formula V is just ahead, trying to fight through the back marker traffic. He could potentially get up close enough and fight around, but Carr is not making any form of mistake here, ready around in one back marker and trying to make it quick and as clean as possible to generate a big enough gap between him and Wright.
If you got enough space, you could probably park your car right in the middle for a good defensive line, but the back markers may have something to say about it. Trying to get past Lim at the moment is Carr, but just seemingly unable to. These back markers are becoming an issue for some drivers. 13 positions down is Chris Lim since the start of this race. Lots of people have lost positions, and it's just really unfortunate for them. We saw what happened on lap number 1, and I've got to remind you, Tristan, we're only just about reaching the halfway point.
I mean, halfway point, just about approaching 15 minutes over here. And like we mentioned, some drivers really not getting it, like Cassiano, 20 positions down currently. But some drivers have really navigated the chaos well, like Alex Bradley over here, 16 positions gained since the start of the race, all the way up neatly into 8th position. And he's not even a lapped car at the moment. He's chasing down Wright to potentially gain a couple more positions here. So this is great work from Bradley. And he's going to want to keep on fighting here. He's got a couple of competition just up in front that he's going to want to try and fight onto. And this is really going to be one good one to watch. Cox getting another black flag penalty, unfortunately, down in 16th position. Everybody just trying to fight around the track limits and avoiding any contact possible.
Any contact is going to give you a good old warning, and too many, you get a black flag. You've got so many people out here tonight, and it is lovely to watch. Down the inside is going to look for them all over the place as Wright and Bradley. Bradley has got Schweening in between himself and the car in front. But now they continue to go. Wright's fallen off the back of Car. Now Bradley's into this fight. 4 cars in one section of a circuit. Schweening gets past Dembowski for an actual position on the circuit. So we are seeing a few moves a little bit further back, and they are now fighting each other all the time. You can't go around any corner around this place without seeing a car right in your rear view or right in front of you. It's pure racing skill tonight, because just to get around a corner that's so tight with so many other cars around you, you've really got to applaud these drivers. Yeah,
absolutely. And I mean, it's great stuff to see the drivers managing to navigate through the traffic and just actually navigate through the track itself. But man, oh man, Alexa, am I feeling it for our producer in the background, just trying to navigate around this track and give us as many possible camera shots. There's too much going on at the moment. There's too much action up and down over here. Every driver has got something to say about the driver in front or back. and it is going to be nose to gearbox for the next 15 minutes. We have managed to cross halfway mark, but the fighting doesn't stop. Rob Wright is trying to keep the gap to Bradley behind. He does have Schweening, who, just to note, Schweening not being a slow driver at all. He might have had a bit of an unfortunate start to the race, but he is not a slow back marker whatsoever, and he's going to keep on pushing to try and unlap himself in this situation. And I feel like that's what we're going to see up and down today, Alexa, is just people trying to fight back and people just trying to maintain their position wherever they are out on circuit.
Well, with your position, you've got to wonder what is going to be better. You may be a back marker, but if you've got somebody who is wanting your position behind you, it may be better. You may look at it and you may think, can I unlock myself here? Can I put a car between me and that car behind? Even if I do have to concede position later on to this man who I'm about to pass. However, if you look at the relative, Lutzu is now coming into this fray as well. So Wright may be P number 7, but he is at risk of getting lapped very, very shortly.
Yep, and here comes Lutzu, as you say it, getting very, very close now to Wright. He's already made quick work on Alex Bradley, and coming around still, setting very consistent lap times. I mean, last lap time was a 48.5, his best being a 48.4, so 1/10 off of his best, and he's setting this almost every single lap compared to some of the drivers further down on grid, setting near the 49s and 50s. So Gianni is not letting anything getting in his way tonight. He's got a good 9.6 second gap behind to Gapinski, but still, traffic management could throw his race away. So he's going to be keeping his head down and getting that number 58 pink Formula V to the finish line.
Most definitely, as that is going to be 2 positions lost for Hanley further down as well. Lutzu is going to look for it, just get past the back marker of Wright here, and he is going to get it done. Lovely move down the inside, not a fight put up. He knows the rules, and that is a lovely jubbly, sound as a pound move as they now head over the bridge and down into the back parts of this circuit. You've got so many trains here. You've got the big one on the main straight, and you've got smaller ones in the first and second sector. Such a short circuit, such amazing action. Todd going 7 positions up since the race start. His last lap time was a 49. But his best was a 48. It's so many drivers out there who are putting up their positions. However, now Todd's got to be careful because Poulin is going to be chasing up behind, and seemingly he is closing that gap as you see him in the background, and we start to watch him 11 positions up.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I mean, 11 positions up. He's going to want to increase that number as much as possible. Todd going just in front, 7 positions up now. But it looks like Poland is on a hungry hunt over here to try and gain positions. He is in the top 5, but he's going to want to try and break that down further and get a little bit closer up towards the potential podium finish here. There's still a good 12 minutes left of racing here. Something can definitely still happen. Obviously, it's a tight circuit and things do take time to transform here. But there is definitely room for improvement here. Ken Poland all over the back and trying to put a little bit more pressure on Todd going. And I mean, if you just look at the top right, the track map, look at how many cars are pursuing around this track consistently. There's a massive train from 11th all the way down to 13th of cars in between, shifting all over the place. And my goodness, this has been an absolutely amazing race so far. With just 20 minutes in and 10 minutes left to go, the action is not going to stop here.
We never usually have the track map on for the entirety, but it's some of it we're having to do around here because there's so much action. It's hard to keep up with one singular camera to watch on the screen. You have to keep an eye on everything that is happening around this track, as it is Ken Poulin who is continuing to chase down that car in front, yet just seemingly unable to get it done. Some gap in front as the grass gets kicked into the air, adding a bit of greenery to the atmosphere, as Lim is going to come into the pit lane with the meatball. Dempowski is also going to get a meatball. How many of those have we seen tonight, Tristan? Honestly, I've lost count.
Yeah, I think it's getting close to 20. It might actually have already exceeded that number. That's just showing how much action has been tonight. I mean, usually meatballs are something that you can easily number on your finger. Same thing with black flag penalties. But tonight has been absolute chaos. There's definitely been more penalties than there are drivers currently out on track tonight at Oran Park. And this is what we're going to be continuing to see over and over again for the remainder of this race. Just with 9 minutes around about left to go, Thiessen in 12th is chasing down The driver just in front, not too sure if that's a back marker or not. That is Kirk Stanley, so this is definitely for position. And this is definitely... Oh, and massive contact at the back. And it looks like Thiessen just lost the rear end of his V. And there goes the fight he was fighting for. Rodrigo Tostas gets past. Super unfortunate there for Thiessen.
We didn't quite catch on the camera. It could have been a slip on the rear, too much acceleration, or it could have been slight contact with that back marker behind. Thiessen now loses out to Hanley as well, as there's going to be contact again, and it's all over the place. They are locked together, synchronized spinning, rounding a singular point. But we've seen Cox so many times tonight. He is incredibly unlucky. We're going to get another shot here on board with Eric Cox heading through this circuit. Under the bridge, you see Thiessen on the left-hand side, down into the braking zone, moves down it, car comes across, locked together as they head into the corner. That is just pure unfortunate, and there's the synchronized spinning, Tristan.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing you can even blame on the drivers. I mean, if you saw Cox's HUD over there, he was actually in reverse, trying to pull out of that fight, and unfortunately Neil Hanley put it into first and absolutely slapped that throttle pedal down to the floor, just trying to get out of that situation, and just unfortunately becoming a Formula V fidget spinner and just spinning around uncontrollably. It almost looked like they had intertwined suspension there. But enough of that, because we still have fighting. Ken Polan is getting ever so closer to the back of Todd Going, and this might be one of the more important fights at the end, towards the end of the 8 minutes here of this race, because it is in the top 5, it is on the same lap, and they are indeed just behind each other. So the number 41 car of Ken Polan and the number 16 of Todd Going are going to be going back and forth here potentially for the next 8 minutes.
And this time we don't get deja vu, because Lutzu is far enough behind to not be a factor in this fight. This is going to be a battle for position between these two drivers. The only aspect may be the lapped traffic ahead. Todd Going is also there, so now they fight against each other. Like I said, back marker is going to be the aspect, and that is going to be so many coming together. It's hard to even get past them, and you got to look behind. But now the gap was 3/10, so as a back marker does end up going off the circuit. That was Dabston, and now these guys are so close together. Just look at this. It was 3/10, but now it's gone down to 7/10.
Yeah, so I think a little bit of luck coming in there for Todd Going. He managed to navigate the back markers a little bit better than Ken Polan was able to, so a little bit more space in between them now. 8/10 actually between him and Ken Polan, and just a lap ago, Ken was about 3 to 4 tenths behind, almost ready to make a move on the backside of that gearbox of Todd Going. So Todd, all over his rear mirrors now, is making sure to keep his elbows out and keep himself going for the next 6 minutes of racing that are about to break into here. And this could potentially be it. But, ooh, E. Cox is back into the pit lane again with another black flag penalty. I think he just actually came out of the pit lane. But like you said, Alexa, super unfortunate race for him so far.
He's lost everything that seems to be tonight. Time is a factor on all of these drivers' minds, yet it is limited. As you said, Tristan, 6 minutes left on the clock. Lutzu leads, followed by Kapinski. Then Marin rounds out the podium. You've got Going and Polan, who are fighting each other, and then the rest of the track, some may call it a skirmish, because you are fighting for position, you are fighting for track position. Cox gets past Maroney, Maroney gets past Cox. Flip-flop on the leaderboard. They are having a fight back there, although it is 2 lapped cars. So now you got to wonder, how are these drivers coming through this? Because Maroney and Cox, they are fighting each other, just like Sulman Khan.
Yeah, and I mean, Sullivan Khan, you can see there's pressure from behind. I'm not too sure that pressure is anybody who's actually fighting them. I think that's actually Joel Bogada, if I can recognize the livery, who's a little bit further down in 15th position. But now Martin Visser is behind Salomon Khan, and now Visser just trying to get past. Oh, and almost contact there. That looked a little bit scary from this camera angle. And now Visser trying to catch up, because Khan is another position that he could potentially take for himself a little bit further in front. You can see Khan just holding that back marker behind him just to keep a little bit of gap there to Visser. So this could potentially be a strategy he's pulling here, Alexa, to keep himself ahead for the next 5 minutes.
It is what you would expect when it comes down to these dying stages of the race. you may be able to push, but it may be the strategy to keep a car behind. Put a car between you and the man who is chasing you down. There's once again 2 cars are together, and one of those drivers is going to be right. He had a good race earlier on. Neil Hanley has had a major contact. You can see the rear end of that car all scratched up. But Rob Wright, he's 2 positions up since the race start. However, he is very much further down than he was earlier.
Yeah, no, definitely not a good one. Let's quickly hop on a replay here. I saw it in the distance. I saw a couple of brake locks coming in. Neil Hanley extremely late on the brakes, and just taking a name there from Rob Wright. And into the side of that red V he goes. A little bit of netcode bugging, as you can see him jumping up and down on the rear suspension. And really unfortunate. Thankfully, Rob able to get out of that crash quite quickly and back out on track. It doesn't look like he's lost any positions, but not something you want to see. That's going to be a little bit of damage on the backside of that V, but he's going to continue pushing on as Cox has lost it again in the back, and it looks like he made contact. Actually, I believe that might have been Matthias Marin who he made contact with. That could have potentially been bad. You can see Marin though just behind Maroney, so it looks like all is good. That almost could have been bad there for those drivers, and it looks like another driver just facing backwards. Andrew James in 17th.
Castellano goes past them. Now this is the thing, where are all these other drivers? Wright and Visser are coming through. He's put it into reverse. So that is what's going to happen here as he backs off onto the grass and wants to play the safe game. You wait at turn 1, you can probably get quite a nice visual, and he's now going to play it safe as there is another car off on the inside. I believe that was Dembowski. No, Dembowski's gone past him, so that was another driver on the inside of turn number 1, but well, turn number 3 technically, my apologies. And now these are so many cars out there, it's so much action as Bagada gets past Schweening. So those 2 are fighting it, even though they are 2 laps down. It is positioned all over the place as Hanley is on the pit lane exit. He's coming out of the pits. Black flag there for Dembowski.
And that's super unfortunate. It looks like Ken Poland might have lost a little bit of grip there. There's Eric Cox backwards again, unfortunately, a little bit further back on track. But Ken Poland has lost a lot of distance to Todd Going. 2.5 seconds gap now to the driver up in front, and I think he might have just lost a little bit of traction there. And super unfortunate. You can see Todd a little bit further up in front is breathing. He is saying, my goodness, what a huge amount of pressure he's been holding on to for the past 5. I don't know how long they've been fighting, Alexa, but thankfully he gets to rest a little bit because Poland has backed off, and he gets to just try and make it home. He's a good 4 seconds gap to Marin. It is chaseable, but we only have 1.5 minutes left of racing. What can be done in this 1 minute and 30 seconds, Alexa?
Well, that's the thing. How much can be done? Because you can try and push, but one mistake and you may end up losing out. I would suspect that quite a lot of these drivers now know that the checkered is not that far away, and they want to play the safe game. We will be going on to the final lap, if I do my maths correctly, or it may be penultimate. I'm just watching. There he is. That is Gianni Lutzu. It is a 47-second. His last lap time was a 49. What was his lap time? As we are going over the line, and I believe it's going to be very close. He does have a gap. So I believe this is in the hands of Lutzu right now. He may cross the line with a few seconds to go, or he could take it a bit slower because he's got an 8-second gap to Gapinski and end this sooner than on his own terms.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the drivers are just starting to fade out a little bit towards the end of the race here. Last lap for Gianni was a 52.2. I mean, that's a good 5 seconds from his fastest lap time, so he's really starting to struggle. And the gap has actually dropped a little bit to Gapinski. I believe it was around 9 seconds, and it's now dropped down to 7.9. And Gapinski is still keeping up the hot laps. His last was a 48. But unfortunately, even though he is starting to catch a little bit, you can see he's catching quite a lot, actually. It's not going to be enough because the white flag has been deployed, and Gianni Lutzu just trying to round it up. He's driving incredibly slow, Lex. It actually looks like he's really starting to struggle a little bit there in that V.
Yeah, well, as there is a lapped car. Good evasive action there by Lutzu. That could have ended very, very badly on the final lap. But he's been holding on to this. He's doing good. But that lap time is coming down. I believe, personally, I think he's backing off a little bit, wants to play it safe with the back markers, because we already saw one spin in his path, so it may be the safe game. He knows he's got the gap, he knows he can take it, the white flag is out, and he's only got one more corner to go. Round the right-hander, he's had it on domination because he avoided all that on lap 1, gonna take it to the line here. Lutsu wins here at Oran Park, and that is straight into the barrier. And both of the wheels off. Kapinski P2, Marin P3.
The rest of the drivers are going to begin looping in, and as you can see, everybody coming across. So many checkered flags up and down from all the drivers who are unfortunately lapped down. And what that essentially means is they have to finish the race once the race leader finishes. So you can see a couple of drivers like Eric Cox, Neil Handley, and Dembowski already over the flag. And that's just purely because Lutsu's already crossed. But here comes Matthias Marin to cross it off, already finishing third. Todd Goings finished, as well as Ken Poland to round off top 5. But my goodness, Alexa, what an absolutely chaotic but great race this has been here at Oran Park.
Yeah, well, it's one to be expected at the end of the day. With such a short circuit with these type of cars, the action was to be expected. You expected lots of it. I would say we got more than we asked for, because there was so much happening out there, and Gianni Lutsu went straight into the barrier at the end of the race. Personally, that is one heck of a celebration to end up throwing the suspension off.
I think he was just so chuffed to finally be done and finished off with this race. But now, congratulations to him for finishing off in first. We're going to have a look at the final standings of this race shortly, but this has been an incredible one of note. But it's great stuff because Gianni Lutsu takes us off in first position, Sean Gapinski rounds off in second, and Matthias Marin closes off the podium there in third. Todd Going in fourth, Ken Poland rounds off fifth, with Zen Carr and Alex Bradley in sixth and seventh, Sullivan Khan in eighth, Rob Wright in ninth, Martin Visser rounds off the top 10, and it's been great stuff for the top 10 there, Alexa.
Yeah, well, Kirk Stanley will then be outside the top 10 in P number 11, followed by Thiessen Schweening with a race that he will want to forget, no doubt, as well as Bagada down in P number 14. Daniel Taylor sits in P number 15 with Tostes P number 16. Then Cassiano, James, Maroney, Cox, Hanley, Dembowski, Liam Babson, and Parens. But there's one thing I want to point out here when we look at it. I think that the man who is most likely going to be most disappointed with the result tonight is going to be Bagada. He had a chance to get an even bigger shot in the championship. However, it did not come to fruition tonight.
Absolutely not. Like we mentioned, he was actually tied first there with the likes of Zach Rattray-White going into round 4, and unfortunately not a great result for him at all, down in 14th. And it's not going to be a good one to render. But one we can talk about is the likes of second place. Sean Gapinski, who was coming into round 4 here in 11th position, comes across in second. So incredible points for him. That's definitely a good ladder climb over there for him. But amazing race to everyone overall, I think.
And let's get straight into it. We have our race winner, Gianni Lutsu. Welcome into the commentary box. You are live on Apex Racing TV. We saw what happened on lap number 1 and how that helped you out. Talk us through it, especially that lap number 1, because there was so much action, but also so much chaos.
Absolutely, thanks guys. Yeah, I mean, look, that turn 1 was a make or break situation, to be honest. I mean, I just hopped off a plane from Europe about 5 hours ago, so my reactions weren't exactly up to scratch. But I think, yeah, we were able to get through there, and then I was a bit worried because honestly, I thought, you know, Sean's pace was really, really good, and you know, tops to him. Obviously, he was really, really fast this week and put a really, really good time in qualifying there. But yeah, we found our sort of groove quite quickly into the race, and then obviously we were able to get past. And then I think honestly the main thing for this race was the traffic. That was literally the make or break. If you could get through traffic quite easily or not, I think that was what made the difference. And yeah, luckily he was able to do that and just pulled away and had a nice healthy gap, and that was the race really.
Yeah, so going into next week, that is going to be a big factor. I would say that is going to put you very, very far up in the standings. At least a big jump for you. But next week, of course, it's a very different circuit. And how is that going to come into effect? Because we are going to be going to Okayama.
Yeah,
Well,
that's the one. No, I think, yeah, no, like you said, completely different circuit. I think honestly, this circuit was perfect for go-karts. If they had go-karts and iRacing, it would have been an absolute stellar race, I think. But yeah, no, I think Okayama's a lot more slipstreamy, a lot more momentum based, whereas this one was a lot of slow speed, a lot of rotation type of corners. So the draft will be quite strong around there in comparison to today, and I don't think it's going to be, again, not very much a situation of lapped cars coming into next week. So yeah, it'll be just one of those cases, trying to qualify well once again, putting yourself in a good position, and I think it will just be honestly picking a couple of drivers, working with them until, you know, later into the race, and get a nice sort of group pulled away from the pack, and then racing it out at the end between them. Because I think at that circuit, the last thing you kind of want is having, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars in a group together, because it just means if you make a little bit of a mistake, it can be very costly. Whereas if it's only a couple of you with a good gap, it's usually not too bad. So yeah, that'll probably be the plan of attack, but let's see what happens anyway.
Well, congratulations on your race win. We shall let you go to pop open the champagne. Gianni Lutsu, race winner.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
And Tristan, I shall let you take your choice. Who do you want to interview, Matthias Marin or Sean Gapinski?
Let's actually have a go there at Mr. Sean Gapinski, because I mean, I feel like Sean had an absolutely incredible race so far there, and just trying to get him into the comms box here. I believe he's going to be with us, and there it is there. What is going on there, Sean? Absolutely incredible result there in second position. How are you feeling after that elbow-to-elbow consistent action race at Oran Park?
Yeah, I'm feeling really good. It was a great race, and being second to Gianni this time legitimately was a good feeling. I was hoping that he got his incident count again like he did a couple of races ago, but I got unlucky, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, still, impressive result coming in on second there. I think he just got the jump on you in first. But starting off last race, you finished off in the championship standings in 11th. Now, after this race, finishing in second, you've definitely boosted yourself up there. So how are you feeling going into next week's race? We've had a bit of a chat there with Gianni Lutsu, and we know that next week's race is a very different circuit at Okayama Full, and it's going to be one to note. So how are you feeling going to a much more bigger and wider circuit compared to what we saw tonight?
You know, TGR's got some great racers. I'm feeling good just to get a couple of seconds this season. Really, going into this next track, it's completely different. It was all about qualifying position and then dealing with lap traffic and traffic in general. But this next course just completely different. It's going to be fun, but I hope I can be up closer to the front and follow Gianni around a little bit. He's an amazing driver. So
absolutely, and I mean, I think final question is especially something to note from tonight. How was the traffic management on your side? We had a bit of a chat with Gianni, but obviously he pulled off into a bit of no man's land. I think you stayed a little bit more towards impact there in second position. How was the traffic feeling on the V's here at Oran Park?
Yeah, it was a little messy, but I'll tell you, the TGR drivers they're 100% better than a lot of the races that you'll see out there, and a lot of the drivers that were lapped did what they could to get to the side, and when they didn't, you just had to deal with it. That's it's all part of racing a circuit like this. If you don't if you don't pass cleanly and you don't watch what the other cars are doing, you're going to get taken out at some point.
Absolutely. I mean, phenomenal job once again from tonight. Great traffic management and a great podium coming in for you. It's some awesome points together coming out around 4, but we're going to send you off. You've had an incredible night, and we'll see you next week at Okayama. Second place finish, everybody, Sean Gapinski. All right, Alexa, and I think you'll take it off for the final one here with Matthias Marin.
Indeed. Matthias Marin, you are live on Apex Racing TV. Let's get straight into it. You were very, very close with overlap traffic tonight. Such a short circuit, such a tight circuit. What was it like out there?
It was absolutely nuts driving this circuit. It's really fun driving these circuits with all the gear changes and managing traffic, like you guys said. It was so much fun.
And of course, very different circuit next week, Okayama Full. So it's going to be a lot different to tonight. How do we think that's going to fare up? Because you got a podium tonight. What's the preparation looking like going into that?
Well, at least I know Okayama. I've never actually raced again here at Oran. It's kind of like a theme that I'm going with this season. I haven't tried out most of these tracks, but Okayama has been on the official schedule for quite a while, so I know that track, and I hope that I can at least draft my way up to a decent position, because these guys are just so fast and such good drivers.
And we were just talking to P number 2 there, talking about how the drivers were very good with getting out of the way, and when they didn't, you just had to fight your way through. What was it like in your perspective?
Yeah, the guys that were lapped, they did a good job making sure that they didn't just pull over for you when they were fighting for their own positions, but they did. They were very respectful in that way anyway, to just sort of let that blue flag let you go, and so that they could keep going with their own race. Yeah, there was no major aggression or anything like that. I didn't see anything too egregious other than the start, which was kind of messy considering how many cars there are on the track. But yeah, it was pretty good. My hats off to all these guys, because they were nice and clean drivers.
Oh, thank you very much. That is all we have for tonight. So well done to you. Well done on the podium. We shall see you next week at Okayama.
Yeah, great. Thanks, guys.
No worries at all. Well, Tristan, that was Oran Park, and that was P number 3 of Matthias Marin. We're going to round out here real quick. What are your final thoughts on this race?
Man, final thoughts of this race, absolute chaos, but like Gopinski was saying, the TGR drivers really do know what they're doing. We had some amazing action up and down, and I really cannot wait to see what we do next week in Okayama. It's a different style, a different layout, almost going back to how VRR South is, a little bit more straight, wider circuits for a little bit more battles. It's going to be a great one, but tonight was nothing but incredible to watch.
Indeed it was. Such a short circuit, so much action. Of course, we go up north. We go to the land of the rising sun for Okayama next week. Same place, same time. It's been one heck of a race tonight at Oran Park Raceway. I've been Alexa Marshall with Tristan Herbst. Our cameraman and our producer in the background has been Samula Kumo. Good night.